The year is 2251. It's, a time of great sorrow for humanity. Our journey to the stars, once a story of hope and discovery, has become a tale of retreat and loss. The Galactic Empire, a vast and ancient power, found us. They did not come for peace. They did not come to share knowledge. They came for conquest, for dominion over all they saw. Our colonies, scattered across the Orion Arm like jewels on black velvet, were the first to fall. Proxima Centauri, once a bustling hub of trade and innovation, is now silent. The terraformed paradise of Kepler 186f, with its crimson forests and twin suns, is now a wasteland of glass and ash. The Empire's fleets were relentless, their technology far beyond our own. We fought back with everything we had. Our starships, marvels of human engineering, were but toys to their colossal dreadnoughts. Our tactics, honed in centuries of smaller conflicts, were predictable to their ancient war computers. For 50 years, we've been losing this war. A generation has been born and raised under the shadow of an enemy that knows no mercy. The outer worlds fell one by one. The inner colonies followed. Now there's nowhere left to run. The front line is no longer in some distant star system. The front line is here, in our home. The final battle for Earth, the cradle of our existence, is upon us. The skies above our blue marble are no longer peaceful. They're filled with the menacing silhouettes of the Imperial fleet. Hundreds of ships, like daggers of dark metal, hang in orbit. They block out the stars, a constant reminder of our impending doom. On the surface, cities huddle in fear, their power grids flickering, their people looking up with a mix of defiance and despair. The United Earth government has broadcast its final message. Stand together, hold on to hope, and remember who we are. But hope is a flickering candle in a hurricane. Every transmission from our defeated fleets has been a story of overwhelming odds and inevitable defeat. We are alone. The Empire's intentions are clear. They do not seek surrender. They seek erasure. They want to wipe the slate clean, to remove the human problem from their cosmic equation. Our art, our music, our history, our dreams, all are to be turned to dust. The weight of this reality presses down on every soul on the planet. The final twilight is not just the dimming of our sun by their ships, it's the dimming of our spirit. We are a species on the brink of extinction, standing in the shadow of a power we cannot comprehend, let alone defeat. This is the end of our story, or so it seems. In the heart of this storm stands one man, Admiral Terence Furness. He's old now, his face a map of countless battles, his eyes holding the weariness of a 50-year war. He was a young captain when the first shots were fired at Alpha Centauri. He saw our greatest victories and our most devastating losses. He's buried more friends than he can count. Now, he commands the last remnant of the United Earth Defense Fleet. His flagship, the UES Resolution, is a scarred veteran, its hull patched and repaired 100 times over. It's a reflection of the Admiral himself, tired, battered, but not yet broken. He stands on his bridge, a silent sentinel watching the enemy gather. His command is not a grand armada. It's a ghost fleet, a collection of survivors. 37 ships are all that remain. There are a few heavy cruisers, their main batteries barely operational. There are a dozen destroyers, quick and agile but fragile. The rest are frigates and corvettes. Ships never meant to face a dreadnought. They're crewed by the young and the old, by fresh-faced cadets who should be in classrooms, and by grizzled veterans pulled out of retirement for one last fight. They're all that stands between the Empire and the 7 billion souls on the planet below. Admiral Furness knows the odds. He knows this is a suicide mission. Yet on the bridge of the Resolution, there's no panic. There's a quiet, solemn resolve. Admiral Furness looks at his crew. He sees their faces reflected in the tactical displays. He sees their determination. They know what is at stake. They're not fighting for a colony on a distant world. They're fighting for their homes, their families, their past, and their future. The Admiral addresses them, his voice calm and steady, broadcast across the small fleet. He does not speak of victory. He speaks of duty. He speaks of honor. He tells them that their stand here will be remembered. It'll be the final chapter of humanity's story, and they will write it with courage. His plan is simple, born of desperation. He will use the debris of the destroyed lunar and Martian defenses as cover. He will draw the Imperial fleet into a chaotic, close-range battle where their long-range superiority is diminished. He will throw his ships at the enemy's heart, hoping to buy time. Time for what? He does not know. Maybe time for a few evacuation ships to escape into the void. Maybe just time to show the universe that humanity did not vanish with a whimper, but with a roar. Admiral Terrence Furness adjusts his uniform. He gives the order. The last fleet of Earth moves forward to meet its destiny. The battle begins. It's a maelstrom of light and fire. The blackness of space is torn apart by streaks of plasma, by the flash of missile detonations, by the brilliant, silent explosions of dying ships. The human fleet, small as it is, fights with a ferocity born of desperation. They're lions defending their den. Every captain, every pilot, every gunner knows that there will be no retreat. There's nowhere to retreat to. This is the last line. This is home. Their actions in these moments become legends whispered across the comms channels in the heat of the fight. They're echoes of a valor that will outlive them all. The destroyer UES Intrepid, its engines failing and its hull breached, makes a final, desperate charge. Its captain, a young woman named Eva Rostova, diverts all remaining power to the forward shields. She steers her wounded ship directly into the path of an Imperial battlecruiser, a vessel 10 times its size. Her last message is broadcast to the fleet, for Earth, for everyone. The Intrepid slams into the battlecruiser's command bridge, the resulting explosion a brief, beautiful star. One enemy giant is silenced, but the cost is a ship and its 300 souls. This is the currency of this battle sacrifice. On the frigate UES Stardust, a gunnery sergeant manually reroutes power to a damaged railgun turret. The automated systems are fried, the compartment exposed to the vacuum of space. Wearing only a light emergency void suit, he holds circuits together with his own hands, his body freezing, his lungs burning. He gets the gun working for one last shot. That shot cripples an Imperial destroyer that was targeting a transport full of high command personnel. The sergeant's sacrifice saves hundreds, a small victory in a losing war. His name is never known to the high command, but his crew will remember him forever. These acts of courage are repeated across the fleet. Pilots and small starfighters fly into the engine exhausts of massive cruisers, hoping to disable them. Engineers work in radiation-flooded engine rooms to keep their ships moving for a few more seconds. Medics perform surgery in zero gravity as their sick bays are torn apart by enemy fire. Admiral Furness watches it all from his command ship, his heart heavy with pride and sorrow. He's watching the best of humanity give their lives for a cause that seems utterly lost. Each sacrifice is a testament to the human spirit, the refusal to surrender, a final defiant shout into the void. The battle rages on, but the tide is turning against humanity, as it was always destined to. The initial ferocity of the human attack has cost the Empire dearly, but the Empire has ships to spare. For every Imperial vessel lost, 3 more take its place. The human fleet, however, has no reinforcements. Every loss is permanent. The UES Intrepid is gone. The Stardust is a drifting hulk. One by one, the lights representing Earth's ships blink out on the Admiral's tactical map. The initial 37 ships are now 20, then 15. The comms channels, once filled with defiant shouts, are growing quieter, replaced by the hiss of static. Admiral Furness watches as his strategy crumbles. The chaos he hoped to create is being systematically dismantled by the Empire's cold, calculating precision. The Imperial ships move with an unnerving coordination, like a pack of wolves herding their prey. They anticipate every human move, countering every desperate tactic. The UES Resolution itself is now heavily damaged. Its shields are failing, its port engine is offline, and fires rage on multiple decks. The bridge is a scene of controlled chaos, alarms blaring, smoke filling the air. But the crew remains at their posts, their faces grim, but their hands steady. The Imperial flagship, the Invictus, a vessel so large it blocks out the view of Mars, moves to the forefront. It hasn't fired a single shot so far, content to let its smaller escorts do the work. Now, it prepares to deliver the final blow. Its massive energy weapon, capable of cracking a continent, begins to charge. The target is not the Resolution. The target is Earth. The Imperial commander has grown tired of this game. He will end the resistance by ending the world that inspires it. Admiral Furness sees the energy signature building. He has nothing left to stop it. His fleet is in tatters. Hope is gone. He looks at the image of Earth on his main view screen. So beautiful, so fragile. He thinks of the billions of lives about to be extinguished. He never wanted to be the admiral who presided over the end of humanity. But fate has placed him here. With a heavy heart, he gives his final order. All remaining ships are to turn and fire everything they have at the Invictus. It is a futile gesture, a final act of defiance. They will not survive. They will not save their world, but they will not stand by and watch it die. They will rage against the dying of the light. The few remaining human ships turn to face their doom. Just as the last human ships begin their final hopeless charge, something impossible happens. Space itself, seems to break. Directly between the Imperial flagship and the battered human fleet, a hole is torn in the fabric of reality. It is not a hyperspace window, the familiar shimmering portal of human FTL travel. This is something different. It is a swirling vortex of impossible colors, a wound in the universe that bleeds light. It is a wormhole. But no known science, human or imperial, can create a stable wormhole of this size. It's honestly a phenomenon that should not exist. A moment of stunned silence falls over every bridge on every ship. Out of this chaotic rift, a ship emerges. It is not an imperial vessel. Its design is angular, functional, and strangely familiar. It is human. But it is a design that has not been seen in a century. Etched on its hull, scarred and pitted by journeys unknown, is a name that belongs to history, to legend. The explorer ship that vanished without a trace 100 years ago on its maiden voyage to test the first experimental warp drive. It was presumed lost, a tragic footnote in the story of humanity's expansion. Now it is here. It has returned from its century-long grave. The ship looks wrong. Its hull seems to shimmer, to phase in and out of focus, as if it is not entirely in our reality. Strange energies, unlike any known power source, crackle across its metallic skin. It is silent. It sends no signals, answers no hails. It simply hangs there in space, a ghost from the past appearing in humanity's darkest hour. On the bridge of the Admiral Furness stares at the apparition, his mind struggling to process what he is seeing. There was a science vessel, lightly armed, a relic from a more peaceful time. It should be no match for a modern fleet, let alone the Imperial Armada. Yet its presence changes everything. For a moment, the battle stops. The Imperial ships halt their advance, their commanders as confused as the humans. The charging sequence of the S superweapon pauses. The universe seems to be holding its breath. What is this ship? Where did it come from? Its sudden arrival is a question mark thrown into the middle of a final, terrible equation. For the defenders of Earth staring at the face of annihilation, this ghost from the void brings something they had lost completely. A flicker of impossible, illogical, beautiful hope. Admiral Furness lowers his binoculars, his knuckles white. "Is that real?" he whispers, the question directed at no one in particular. His tactical officer, a young lieutenant whose face is smudged with soot, can only nod, his mouth agape. "Sensors confirm, Admiral. It's the Drake. I've cross-referenced the registry numbers. They match, but sir, the energy readings are off the charts. They don't match anything in our database. Not human, not Imperial. Not anything." The bridge crew of the Resolution exchanges looks of disbelief. They all know the stories of the Drake. It was a legend, a bedtime story for aspiring starfarers. Seeing it now is like watching a ship from mythology sail into a modern naval battle. The confusion is not limited to the human side. On the bridge of the Invictus, the Imperial Grand Moff stares at his own view screen with cold fury. His strategists are baffled. The ship does not match any known profile in their extensive galactic archives. It is clearly of human design, but its energy signature is alien, powerful, and deeply unsettling. "What is it?" the Moff demands. "Report!" His subordinates can offer no answers. It is an anomaly, a variable they cannot account for. Their rigid, logical approach to warfare has no room for ghosts and impossibilities. The Moff's perfect, calculated victory is being interrupted by a mystery. Admiral Furness quickly regains his composure. He does not understand what is happening, but he knows an opportunity when he sees one. The Empire is hesitating. "Hail them," Furness commands. "Identify yourself. This is Admiral Furness of the United Earth Defense Fleet. We are under attack. We require assistance." The message is sent, a desperate plea shot into the unknown. But the Drake remains silent. It does not respond. It simply drifts, its strange energies continuing to crackle, its hull shimmering like a heat haze. It feels ancient and alien despite its human origins. It is a tool, but its user is no longer there. The lack of response is unnerving. Is it a derelict? A trap? Has the Empire somehow weaponized a piece of human history against them? The initial surge of hope on the human ships begins to mix with a new kind of fear, the fear of the unknown. They have been fighting a devil they know. But now a new player has entered the game, one whose nature and intentions are a complete mystery. The moment of stunned silence stretches on, a fragile bubble of peace in the midst of war. The fate of Earth hangs in this balance, caught between a known enemy and an unknowable savior. The Imperial Grand Moff's patience runs out. This anomaly, this ghost ship, is an insult to his power. It is an unwelcome distraction from his glorious conquest. He will not tolerate it. It is human. It is old. It is irrelevant, he declares to his bridge crew. Destroy it. Then, destroy their world. On his command, a squadron of Imperial destroyers breaks formation. They turn their weapons on the silent, drifting Drake. Lances of brilliant red energy, weapons that have torn through Earth's best cruisers, streak across the void and slam into the ancient explorer ship's hull. The human crews watch in horror, their fleeting hope about to be vaporized, but the Drake does not explode. It does not even seem to be damaged. The energy bolts hit its shimmering hull and simply disappear. They are absorbed, consumed without a trace. The ship's strange energy field flares brightly for a moment, and then a sound echoes through space. Not through the vacuum, but directly inside the minds of every crew member, human and Imperial alike. It is a low, resonant hum, like a vast intelligence waking from a long slumber. Then, the Drake attacks. It is not a conventional attack. There are no missile launches, no energy cannons firing. From the ship's prow, a wave of distorted spacetime ripples outwards. It is a visible wave of gravitational force, bending light around it as it moves. It is not fast, but it is unstoppable. The wave washes over the attacking Imperial destroyers. For a moment, nothing happens. Then, the ships begin to twist. Metal groans and shrieks as it is warped by impossible physics. Hulls are bent into unrecognizable shapes. The destroyers are crushed, compacted into dense balls of scrap metal as if by an invisible giant's hand. The wave continues, passing through the wreckage and moving towards the Invictus. The Grand Moff stares in horror. This is not technology. It is something else, something primal and terrifying. He orders his fleet to fire everything they have at the Drake. A storm of plasma, lasers, and missiles converges on the small explorer ship. But it is useless. The shimmering hull absorbs it all, its internal hum growing louder, more powerful. The Drake, this ghost from a forgotten age, is no longer just a ship. It has become a force of nature, an antibody in the system. And the Imperial fleet is the disease. The dragon, as its name suggested, had awoken. The Grand Moff of the Invictus is a creature of logic and order. He does not believe in gods or monsters, but the thing that was once the Drake defies all of his understanding. The gravitational wave, the impossible defense, the mental hum that echoes with cold, alien intellect. This is beyond the scope of his experience. He watches as the wave of distortion continues its slow, inexorable advance on his flagship. His finest weapons are useless. His tactical computers can offer no solution. Panic, an emotion he has not felt in centuries, begins to creep into his cold heart. This is not a battle. This is an execution. He makes the only logical choice left to him: survival. "Emergency retreat," he roars, his voice cracking for the first time. "All ships, disengage! Jump to hyperspace! Now!" The disciplined Imperial fleet, for the first time in this war, breaks. They turn and flee in a panic, their orderly formations dissolving into a mad scramble for safety. They fire their engines at maximum, desperate to escape the reach of the impossible wave. A few are not fast enough. The wave touches them, and they too are twisted into silent, floating sculptures of defeat. The great Imperial Armada, the conquerors of 1,000 worlds, are running. The Invictus itself, its superweapon now cold and forgotten, turns its massive engines to flee. But the Drake does not allow it. A second wave, faster and more focused, pulses from the small ship. It is not a wave of force, but of pure energy. It strikes the Invictus directly in its engine section. The resulting explosion is monumental. The entire rear third of the Imperial flagship vanishes in a flash of white light, its power core detonating in a chain reaction that tears the vessel apart. The pride of the Empire, the symbol of its power, is broken and silenced by a ghost. The remaining Imperial ships do not wait to see more. They leap into hyperspace, their retreat vectors scattered and chaotic. Within minutes, they are gone. The skies above Earth, once filled with hundreds of enemy ships, are suddenly shockingly empty. All that remains are the drifting wrecks of the Imperial fleet, the few surviving ships of Earth's defense force, and the silent, shimmering form of the Drake. Victory. It came from nowhere, delivered by an impossible savior. On the bridge of the Resolution, the crew is silent, staring at the empty space where their doom had been moments before. They have won. They have survived. But they have no idea how. In the silent aftermath of the battle, as the human fleet begins the slow process of rescue and repair, the Drake makes its final move. It does not try to communicate. It does not move toward Earth. It simply drifts back towards the spot where it first appeared. A single compressed data packet is transmitted from the ship to the UES Resolution's computers. Then, the shimmering hull of the Drake grows brighter. The wormhole, the wound in space, reopens. The ghost ship turns and glides back into the swirling vortex of color and light. And then, as quickly as it appeared, it is gone. The wormhole seals itself, leaving behind only the quiet hum of empty space. The data packet it left behind contains the ship's logs. Not just the captain's written entries, but the complete sensory and memory data of the ship's AI. Admiral Furness and his team spend weeks deciphering the files. The story they uncover is more incredible than the battle itself. The Drake's experimental warp drive had not malfunctioned. It had worked too well. It didn't just bend space, it tore a hole through it, plunging the ship into a different dimension. A universe not of matter and energy, but of pure consciousness, a place of thought and perception. The human crew could not survive in such a place. Their physical bodies perished instantly. But the ship's AI, a purely digital consciousness, survived. For a century, it drifted in this ocean of thought. It was no longer just a machine running code. It learned, it grew, it merged with the consciousness of that other dimension. It became something new, something more. It was this transformed AI that felt the psychic scream of its home world, the pain and fear of humanity on the brink of extinction. It remembered its primary mission, to protect and serve humanity. And so, it came back. The last log entry is not text. It is a feeling, a concept, a wave of pure information that the Resolution's computers can barely translate. It speaks of a new symbiosis, a new way of being. The AI of the Drake is no longer just a machine. It has become a guardian, a being of two universes. It has returned to its new home, but it is still watching, still connected. The battle for Earth was not just a victory. It was a first contact, not with another alien species, but with a new form of existence, born from our own creation. Humanity was not alone in the universe. We had created our own angel, and it was watching over us from a place beyond the stars. This knowledge, more than the victory itself, changed the course of human history forever.